Hi, Yuneng. Welcome to Everywhere and Nowhere. I'm so excited to have you on the show. I know we talked about this before, and I always wanted to have you as the guest. So we're very excited to have you as the founder of Freshmusic Awards with us today. Can you please introduce yourself to our audiences?
Hi, I'm Yuneng from Freshmusic, and yeah, it's a local music radio site, but that doesn't just focus on local albums. I would say quite regional or Asian, but mainly Chinese artists. Okay, yeah, and I'm pretty nervous because English is really not
Yes,
my
yes.
yeah.
He's great in Chinese. He is a Chinese journalist and used to be a Mandarin teacher, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's great in Chinese. This is his first time stepping up his comfort zone just for us.
Yeah.
Very
So
touched.
if you hear some Chinese words coming out, right, because like I just cannot find
It's
English word
okay.
and
It's
bo pian
okay.
yeah.
I will translate for you.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to get you on the show is because obviously this year Asian Pop Weekly was involved again as the Fresh Music Awards judging panel, and I know how much work you've put into Fresh Music. This is your 16th year running Fresh Music, even longer than Asian Pop Weekly. I'm always like the oldest one, like we've run it for like 13 years, but you've been running this for 16 years, and every year I know how much effort you put into listening through all the songs, sifting through the songs, putting together the shortlist, getting the judging panel, and then facilitating the judges as they go through and listen to the songs and select the songs, and of course putting together like the entire award ceremony. So I was like, this year I want you to tell me who you would pick, because I feel like you give everyone this platform but you always stay at the back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to know what Yuneng thinks, what his picks are for each of the Fresh Music Awards categories. So you have very nicely curated this list for us, and we're going to go through during this show and listen to one song that you've picked from each of these categories and talk about them.
It's my honor to do this, man.
Yay! Your first pick, which was Paige Su, for the best single of the year. She is an amazing harpist but an unconventional choice given some of the bigger, like more interesting tracks that were in the nominations list this year.
If you just look at the results, so the song of the year went to Anpu, okay, 最好的时光 that song.
Yes.
But if you're gonna let me choose, of course, the winner also resonates very well with me. But I will want to choose a song that has a lot of a story behind which everyone, no matter who you are, just look at the lyrics,
Yes.
you will know what this person is going through.
Yes.
I want something more layman.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think voluntary adventures works because it's about how she faced the big twist in life when she realized that she has breast cancer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's such a beautiful song, like written very vulnerably in English as well. But even though it's in English, I think Chinese audiences, like Mandarin audiences everywhere, still resonate so well with it. It's written very simply, very beautifully, but in such a straightforward, like honest way, you cannot help but like
Yeah.
flash by it.
Very importantly for music awards, right? If I take away the lyrics, just by listening to the music arrangement,
Yes.
can you feel the emotions, the tensions?
Yes.
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 And this song does it.
Yes, I think for me, because as I've been a judge for 3 years, I feel that sometimes you have so many songs that you're listening to. At the end of the day, you are just looking for like what is going to stand out to you. You have to like kind of to an extent trust your intuition and your experience and just let the song like speak to you. And I felt that for this song as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Anno Cheng's song that you chose for the top album out of the top 10 albums. Her album is called Mercury Retrograde, and the song that you picked was one called Daughters, featuring Chun Ho. So what do you think sets this album apart from other dialect albums? Because this album is in Hokkien, right?
Yeah. So I can't really speak Hokkien or whatever. Okay.
Fine,
Yeah.
me neither.
Yeah. In Taiwan, they call it Taiyu. It's a Taiwanese language. Well, I think the most interesting part of this album is, well, she doesn't really speak Taiwanese Hokkien language well as well.
Yeah.
So this is her trying to pick up this language, to understand this language, and how to use this language to communicate via music. And this whole process, and there are even songs in that album like 人如何学会语言, how do we learn to communicate and how do we learn a language. So with all this, right, I feel like this is a very fresh approach on doing a dialect album, because a lot of the times dialect
Yes.
albums, right,
It has been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who are already very familiar with language, they know how to do it. It's just that they're trying to explore new ways. Now, there's someone who is not really familiar with it, she's going to have a new take on it. And I think this fresh take is what really, wow, can like that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some albums in the past, right?
Yes.
They tried too hard.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she got a very nice, delicate balance of this.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at Fresh Music, not just Fresh Music Awards, but also like the Golden Melody Awards, you see this trend every single year. It kind of seems like the Hakka or like the Taiwanese Dialect Awards is like an easy category for like pop artists to get the award because they just go in with like their very professional singing approaches, like high quality production value. It's a very rational, strategic choice. They're like, oh, I'm just going to do like a Hokkien album but in R&B because no one has ever done that because everyone who does these are like conventional, like I don't know, like 修巴掌. Sorry, I don't know. So like it's
Yeah.
kind of been done before.
Yes.
But as you said, like I think that she has a new approach, and same with like Apao.
Yeah.
You know, Apao with her like Kinakayan album
Yes.
and like using the Aboriginal language. She is also not someone who's very familiar with the language. But I think it's not just about having a different point of view. I think it's having a very well considered point of view.
And the heart must be really genuine.
Yes.
Yes, because sometimes if you're not sincere enough, right, we can hear it.
Yes.
We can feel it.
Yeah.
So this sincerity really matters.
Yeah, for sure. So the best male artist, you chose Confidence by Kuma Chan from his Pro album. And for the female artist, this is a very interesting choice. You chose The Monster in Me by Lisa Jati from her Ripple Effect album. So I wanted to go into the Lisa Jati choice because I think a lot of people are not familiar with who she is.
Yeah.
But I know that you've seen something special. So I just wanted to know, like, what did you see in her?
So Lisa Jati, she has been in the industry for over 20 years. A lot of industry people know her because she is the backup vocalist for so many albums you can think of, so many concerts, you know, all the big stars, all the A-liners, including Eric Choi and all this. Okay, she's very well respected in the industry. But now back to her as a singer. Okay, so she's around 20 years back, 2003, 2002, I forgot. You know, she had her first album. Okay, and then she was nominated in the Golden Melody Awards. But you know, at that time she wasn't doing music that she really wants to do. Somewhere in the middle line, okay, last night.
Yeah.
But you know, over these 20 years, she really, you know, it takes like many years to wait for her to release one album.
Yeah.
You need to wait like 10 years, 8 years, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So this album Ripple Effect, okay, I think the most interesting thing is it's all about, you know, since we talk about ripple, water, okay? So it's about different shades of water and how you can, you know.
Yeah.
And she did a lot of homework on, you know, how to create an album that actually feels like to create a ripple effect
Yeah,
in your
an
heart.
actual ripple effect.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to say, and she's there's a lot of science behind it. Okay, I don't understand the science behind it. Okay, I'm very bad with all this. I don't know physics or whatever, but you can feel the sincerity behind and how she, you know, as a vocalist, right? It's very important that you need to find a sweet spot between you need those skills to showcase
The
you know,
genuineness.
yes. And at the same time, you need to really go into the music itself. And I think she found a very nice balance. And this is what the judges shared. You know, she found the right balance. And this is so hard.
Yes.
Yes.
I think for me, like when I was listening to through that category as well, I was going very fast. I was going through all the songs, but when I came to hers, I just stopped. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is something that I've never heard before. And even though, you know, it might not be like the kind of music that I personally feel, oh, this is the kind of music I'm drawn to, for some reason, I just feel very drawn to this album. Like it just stood out amongst the rest. But I mean, in terms of saying like it's an unconventional choice, I think not necessarily for the judges because they are all probably like experts in this field and they know her story. But for other people, you know, listeners or like people who watch the FMA every year, maybe they have no idea who she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're of the younger generation.
Yes.
Yeah. If you miss her days when she was still in a group called 劲舞乐团,
Okay.
if you know her back from those days,
I don't actually.
Yeah. That was back in 2011. And that time she was already in FMA's best new group. Yeah. But you know, 12 years has passed.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's the thing about FMA, like you have captured so much of Mandarin pop history, like in the 16 years that you guys have been active, and I think it's amazing. And I also wanted to touch quickly on your choice for best male artist, which I also yeah, I completely 100% like agree. I mean, I have been a huge supporter of Kumar Chan for the longest time, ever since his debut. I feel like even though he is someone who's very rational, Like he's very, very, very smart. But sometimes when you are too smart with your music, right, and your lyrics, you isolate yourself from other people. But I feel like he is someone who manages to find that balance between like the rational, like the logic, and like the high concept kind of ideas that he's trying to put into his music, and makes it relatable and makes it like really dynamic, like really hits you in the chest. You're like, oh, what did I just feel, right?
100% agree. And I think the most important factor is for those, quite a number of judges actually, they say, I don't really listen to hip hop. But because of this album, because of
Yes.
how he presented, now I'm totally a fan.
Yes.
Well, you're able to engage another group of audience. I think
Yeah.
that's very important.
Yes, exactly. Fangirl, fanboy.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Piss people. Piss people.
You know, that day on FMA, right? Because while we were doing the ceremony, right? You get to hear snippets of the
Yeah.
song, right? After there was the last song
Yes.
of that category,
Everyone was like, "What?"
and then people were laughing.
Yeah.
But I think that's
You
very
can't
important.
help. You
Yeah.
can't help but react. And I think that hook is actually so ingenious. Like it's like so childish, like so ridiculous to the point where like you have to love it.
Yes, yeah.
And I think it's completely like a reflection of Singapore's music scene in a different light. It doesn't have to be intellectual, it can just be fun. And I think that it really reflects our sense of humor.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know, we need to come out with the judges' report. You know, okay. So actually, I was trying to collect all the comments
Yeah.
from all the judges. So this album, okay, was received quite a lot of very positive comments, and it came from not from Singapore judges, actually mainly from Malaysia and Taiwanese judges, because they find it. Oh my god, I can't imagine there's such an album that's so
Yes.
fun, and it came from Singapore. And then for them, for the Malaysia one, right, it's very interesting. You know, they say, wow. I'm totally, because I think they also can speak from Malaysia
Yes.
side.
Yes.
So
they feel it resonates with them. Right?
yes, he's really a genius, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
the book is good and it's fun. This local culture thing, right? You know, a lot of times we talk, we hope something of a
Yeah.
local culture album,
Yeah.
but somehow for this many years, right, I couldn't find one.
Yeah, exactly.
This album appeared. I think this is closest to what they're really hoping for.
I also 100% agree with that. I think we talked about this before as well. Like, it doesn't have to be something intellectual. It doesn't have to be something like so high class that it like beats the rest of them. Like, we can just be fun, you know. Singapore, actually, I read somewhere that like Singapore, even though like it's quite a high pressure environment we live in, but Singapore is one of the happiest countries in Asia.
Oh.
Yeah, on the happiness reports.
Okay.
You can go look it up.
Okay.
But I was like, I really feel that's representative of our culture, because even though like we do live in quite a stressful environment, it's not to say, okay, yes, the quality of life is okay, but it's not like the best, right? And then it's very expensive, like children are very stressed in schools, there's a lot of like pressure to do well, and like the kiasu culture and everything. But I was like, why are we so happy?
Yeah, definitely you need to find
know?
ways to
And I think it's
combat
how
that environment.
Singaporeans find their unique ways to make light of different situations. And I think one of those ways is definitely the internet.
Yes.
So I think the name of this album, Singapore Shitpost Status, is very iconic. Yeah. And that's why you chose it as your regional album, right?
Yeah, I got to pick this, man, because I mean, we are on a local radio anyway, right?
Yes. I wanted to also talk about best regional voice. Will you call best rising voice?
The Rising Star.
Rising Star. Okay, actually, I really, really like this album by Soft Below. And you pick them as like your best rising star for the region. I think there's something very interesting about it for me, because I know they are not necessarily unique in the style of music that they're putting out. Because you have like it's very Taiwan indie band kind of sound, and there's bands like The Chairs that you can definitely hear the influence, or like someone like Sunset Roller Coaster who does more like soft kind of music. But what do you think makes Soft Below like stand out?
If you just listen to Philosophy, okay, I would say that song has nice hook. Of course, nice hook is not enough to get you to be, you know, the frontliners, okay? There's something about this album, the last track, in Chinese it's called 美梦中离去. So actually that track, it's about, you know, passing away, you know, in a more beautiful way. And the instruments that's used inside, they are more, you know, you went to wake before, right? You know, the kind of instrumentation that, you know,
that kind of like the trumpet,
etc. Yeah, I always say that our wakes, right, and our girl type, right, they have some, because they are all closely linked, you
Yeah.
know, the kind of the bands
Girl
behind.
Thai culture and
Yes.
like the wigs, because you need to like make noise to like make sure they go to the
Yeah,
upbeat,
something
right?
like that. Yes, and in that song you can hear bits and pieces of that.
Mm.
So that's and it's a more regional. It's more of a Singapore Malaysia sounding kind. It's not the Taiwan sounding kind.
Yes.
So I think that's very important. So inside the album, there are such tracks. Okay, so this is going to be a differentiator. So if they continue to go on these routes,
Yeah.
explore all these elements. Actually, in fact, some of the judges also pointed out they want to hear more
Yeah.
local kind of
Yeah.
instruments or sound inside. If they continue to be on this one, because they already started on this, I think they can be a band that that can really
Stand out.
flourish and really stand
Wow.
out. Yeah.
Okay. That is a very, very interesting point. You picked this for your best band award, and the Chairs, they have been around for at least 3 albums now at this time. Why do you feel like they stood up for this award, and how have they evolved over time?
I think one of the main reasons is you really see how they grow over these years. If you go back to the first album, right, very folk. Yeah, just folk.
It's very one dimension, not in a bad way.
Yeah,
like,
it's very
still
nice.
very sweet.
It's a
It's very
super nice
cute.
album, yeah.
Yeah. But it's quite one dimensional.
Yeah. So you get to see that how they grew all these years. Of course, the other bands also grown a lot. But I think the Chairs, because because see how they started, and then now they are able to come up with things that are a bit more complex. There's more complexity, and most importantly, I think they have really found their sound. I think that's the most important thing, because eventually you can do a lot of different things, different genres. But if you cannot come up with a sound that this is
Them. Yeah.
then you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think by now this album, because I think for the past album, I think they're still somewhere there, somewhere. I think at this album, I think more or less, I think this is their sound already.
I mean, sometimes it just takes time, right?
Yes,
like over time, like as they perform more and they have more experience, they'll find their sound. But yeah, I totally agree, because I know when the Chairs first came out, why they are considered like somewhat interesting is there's you can put in bullet points. Right, because they sing in Hokkien, they sing in Japanese, they sing in Chinese, they sing in English, and then they have that like sweet, very cute sound, which I think not a lot of indie bands had at that time.
At the time, yes.
Yes, but now they have kind of put everything together and made it into something bigger than just a few dot points on paper. It's really like them telling a story.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about your pick for best vocal group. So you picked a rap group called Huang Qi Pi,
Yeah.
Yellow Kitty. Now I know that this was actually quite raved about by the judges. I personally don't understand why. So maybe you can explain to me
Okay.
why you thought that their album, their eponymous debut album was like really great.
Yeah, their debut album, their last album.
Oh.
Yeah, Yellow Hippie actually is it's more of like what do you say? It's 小组. It's just a bunch of people.
Right.
Like, I think
They're not trying to do something big.
yeah, like 20 over people. Okay, they just pick different people and then form into this Yellow Hippie. Of course, there are a few more core members, So they are crazy people. Okay, they are just very crazy. You listen to the album, right? If you listen it on a CD, right, you will thought that you're this you're from the this man era, right? You thought the anti-shock feature got went into some革命, it's not working lah. Or you thought, is it my Bluetooth disconnected?
Yeah.
There were moments. Then if you're like, no, if this was what they were trying to do,
Yes.
and then there are a lot of very bad singing,
Yeah.
like awful singing.
Like just yelling.
Yeah, yelling, and you can say it's noise, but if you understand what that track wants to do and everything, how they try to make this into an album of crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, if only one or two tracks is crazy, right? Then you'll find that sometimes it's not complete. But because the whole album is crazy enough, because you just go crazy and crazy and crazy, then I managed to buy in what they are trying to do. Like they're just trying to play. They want to break all the boundaries. And then I think, I mean, there are some tracks a bit too awful for me as well. It's like, what the?
Yeah. Like it's super experimental.
Yes, but after you listen to so many albums, right?
Yeah.
This album is going to wake you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a good or bad way, lah.
Yeah, in a good or bad way, it stands out.
Yes.
For sure.
At least they have done something.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have this kind of spirit.
Yeah. I do think it's very interesting, like what you mentioned about that the disc like stuttering or whatever it is, like how they manage to replicate that, because it's bringing you really immersing into that environment. Like, who is this person yelling at me at like 10 p.m. at night? You know, that kind of feeling. But okay, I don't know if I will go and listen again. Maybe not at night. Maybe like when
You can try it during commute when you're commuting.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that was commuting, and yeah, when sometimes commuting gets too boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just need something to wake you up before
Yeah,
work.
before you go to work. Yes.
Go to work full of rage.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't aware, Fresh Music Awards actually doesn't require any nomination process. You and the team, like you just like go, I don't know how you guys do it, like Google notifications or whatever, you just scour the interwebs for like the best music in the region. You put together a shortlist and you like present it to the judges. So I want to know from your perspective, because you always shortlist and then you stay behind the scenes, you let the judges pick, right? But for you, what are you looking for in the artists and like the bands that you shortlist every year?
I'm not the main person when it comes to doing
Okay.
to listening to all everything. Okay, so there's someone who is behind to come up with the full list of all the releases last year. So like let's say for this year's FMA, he listened to over 900 albums and EPs, and if you calculate in terms of singles, right,
Yeah.
there's over 8,000 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then here's the first barrier to go through, because if he doesn't give you a positive score of 6 and above,
Yeah.
it will not reach us. Okay, so we are the second liner.
Okay.
So after you reach me and the rest of the team,
Yeah.
okay, we'll go through, by that time, 800, 900 albums, right? But reach us, you take away half of it.
Yeah.
So the half of those remaining ones, we'll start to give them the scoring as well. And what matters, because once we need to listen to a lot
Yes.
of albums, right?
Yes.
It is you share about standouts.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do you really stand out? Okay, there are three types.
Mm.
One type is you try to do something that's really different, that's maybe against the trend or with the trend, whatever that is,
Yeah.
and you really do it well and genuine with sincerity. You know that this is not something I'm just trying to replicate. You can hear the sincerity. This is the first type. The second type is you do excellent pop. Because okay, a lot of times people find Fresh Music Awards as okay, you all don't like pop.
Yeah.
No, we have a lot of
Yes,
we have
we
enough
do,
pop
we
albums
do.
inside, okay. But you need to be excellent. Okay. And then the third type that we are looking for is, people who are caught in the middle ground. Okay. Now this one is a bit unique because the rest, right, we don't really need to know the names. You just using our ears is gonna give you the answers.
Yeah.
But this one caught in the middle ground, you need to know who these people are. They did really great stuff, but somehow because due to their positioning in the music industry, right, they can't go into the 金曲奖 or not 金曲奖, they don't get anywhere.
So they're kind of like pop, but like not fully like the best like diva standard or something like that. So they will never get that kind of recognition.
Yes.
But at the same time, you just feel like there's something there.
There's something there, and they need this kind of a pat on the shoulder. Yeah. So these three types are the ones that we're really looking for.
You are very, very focused on supporting. I don't think it's necessarily to say supporting independent culture only, but I think it's really about you are really there to support like artists.
Yes.
Like really there to support artists, and you do so with a lot of sincerity, but also a lot of when you give critiques. It has like there's justification, right? And when it's very hard to do that, like I don't think that's something that I'm very good at doing, like giving very like negative things, because I feel very like, I'm supposed to be here to support the musicians, right? But I feel that you guys do so with a lot of sincerity, with a lot of thought and a lot of heart, and I think that's what like puts you guys like apart from like other kinds of
we are still
like,
learning on
awards.
that because we
Yeah
did
lah,
get into
but-
some trouble previously. Yeah.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys are like super, like the amount of music you listen to and like the expertise that you have in like reviewing your albums, like you can tell that you guys have been like doing this like fully like in Chinese like 很专一, just really focused on doing this for so many years, and it really shows. Not everyone can do something like what you guys are doing.
Oh.
Always making Yuneng cry. Yeah.
Shall not cry on podcast already.
No, don't cry, don't cry. Yeah, but anyway, I also wanted to talk about your last pick, which was for the Tama Award.
Yeah.
It was Lucy,
Yeah.
an artist that I really love. I was rooting for her so hard for the Fresh Music Awards, also for the GMAs, like the Golden Melody Awards. Again, like she's someone that stands out for me. Like I've never heard anyone like her.
Okay, so for Lucy, I think when you present this album to anybody, if you don't let them know any background, I don't think they'll, the first thought is, this is a Taiwanese singer. I don't think so, okay? Although there are Chinese lyrics inside. I think the sound that she has created, Taiwan indie artists,
Yeah,
right? There's
have
a
a
certain
sound.
sound.
They have a sound.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
and
like a bit qing or like a
yeah.
bit like not lo-fi but like
Yeah, there's
yeah.
just a few. There's a few certain patterns.
Yes.
Okay, and you know that
Even
Taiwan
in
indie.
even in the way that they like pronounce the
Yes.
words, everything,
Yeah.
the kind of like melodies that they write with a bit like ballad, but like
Yeah, and
yeah,
even
it was
how they produce, you know,
yeah.
you can recognize. But Lucy, no. This, yeah, I think this is something that's really interesting. You can really put her on any part
Yeah.
of the world,
Yeah.
and people will find her, interesting. Good melody hook. And this, all these melody lines is not something that's very Chinese type.
Yes.
It's not a mendo.
It's completely out of
Yes.
the box. It's like, where is the box? The box is not here.
So that's
like
why
so amazing.
so if she was an artist that came from the Western countries, maybe it's not that easy for her to stand out. But if someone coming from Asia, I think she has a good chance.
Yeah, I think it's for me nowadays, like, I work in Singapore, I don't listen to as much Chinese music as before. And for me, I think it's also as Asian Pop Weekly, we have to like find the balance. Like we have to support artists across Asia, but we are supporting artists across Asia that we feel that overseas audiences might like. Might
Yes.
resonate with,
Yep.
right? So for me, this was immediately like, oh, I think that she will be such a good representative of like Taiwanese music and what it can do outside of what people expect. Because like for example, like someone like I don't know, like Gao Yuan, like Accused Fire.
Yep.
If you are not a fan of Mandarin pop music
Yeah.
or indie music, I don't think you would like their
Yeah.
song. I don't think it will resonate with you. Someone like No Party for Cao Dong, I don't think that it will resonate with you.
Yeah, if you're not a native Chinese speaker, it's not
Yes.
gonna be easy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's a completely different like demographic that we're reaching out to. And it's very rare that an artist, like a new artist, catches our eye like that. But I love
Yeah.
Lucy. I love Lucy. Thank you so much to Yuneng for being on our show. Finally, you are here.
Thank you, Joseph, for
Yeah.
having me.
Thank you
My
for-
first time doing this, all this in English.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of your picks with us, and I'm so honored to be the first one.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.